Welcome to Tour Chron. If you're a traveler and love nature, then you are at the right place. Please subscribe to us and press the bell icon. There are places in the world that occur naturally, but are so wondrous that it's hard to believe the human hand had no part to play in it. We look at certain kinds of rock formations and colors of the water, and we think that it isn't natural. These places have no business looking like that. Like they emerged from some futuristic movie or TV show in the first place. But wait, I want to hear from you. Have you ever stumbled upon a natural wonder that left you questioning its origins? Share your experience in the comments below. These are our picks for the top 20 places in the world that just don't seem real. Salar de Uyuni. If you're wondering whether the world's largest salt desert is worth visiting, here's our answer. Yes, without a doubt. One of the most remarkable places in South America, if not the world, the Uyuni Salt Flats in Bolivia has remarkable views, unique hotels, and some of the most amazing photo opportunities you'll ever find. The small town of Uyuni is the gateway to Salar de Uyuni, and that's where you get your guides and where the tours start. You can book the cheaper shared tour with other visitors or opt for the more expensive private tours. Whether you're admiring the hexagonal salt formations, the bed of a prehistoric lake that dried up a long time ago, or marveling at the mirror effect created by a thin layer of runoff water from nearby rivers, the salt desert is definitely worth a visit. The vast expanses and clear reflections provide opportunities for stunning photographs. Most tours span 3 days, and a popular stop is Inca Huasi, meaning House of the Incas. With its towering cacti, jaw-dropping views, and an ancient cave of mummies. Other than that, there are the salt hotels that are literally made of salt, the train cemetery littered with husks of 20th century trains, hidden lava caves, and lagoons filled with flamingos galore. You've got to think carefully about choosing a time to go. The dry season is considered the peak tourist season, from May to November. Temperatures are colder and many places are more accessible. However, the famous mirror effect is only possible during the rainy season, December to April. Pamukkale. The bizarre and unreal landscapes around Pamukkale, meaning Cotton Castle in Turkey, can actually feel like a bit too much to take in. Practically the only thing to see in the little town of Pamukkale is the hot springs, but what a sight they are. This UNESCO World Heritage Site is an absolute wonder. When you visit the travertine white terraces and the cascading thermal pools, you won't be surprised at the name Pamukkale anymore. Travertine is the name of a sedimentary rock deposited by the springs, and the terraces stretch for 2 miles across the landscape. The gleaming steeps and the ice blue-colored mineral pools make for a picturesque view indeed. Do be careful to stick to the lower pools for bathing, since you aren't allowed to bathe in the upper pools, and there are police all over the place to make sure of it. The water is very warm, which is a wonderful sensation in the cooler months. And they provide health benefits too. However, you should be careful of the slippery travertine slopes and the sharp limestone projections. Along with the nearby Hierapolis, was made a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1988. You might be surprised to learn that these thermal pools have been drawing visitors since classical antiquity, Greek and Roman times. There's even a Cleopatra pool that you can visit, just like the ancient Romans did, although there is zero evidence that Cleopatra ever made it to the place. Definitely take some time to visit the ancient Greek city of Hierapolis, which is built on top of the Travertine Formation. Antelope Canyon. Visiting Antelope Canyon in Arizona at midday, when the light flows into the canyon, is a sight like no other. A slot canyon that was carved out by erosion, by water and wind. The canyon is full of smooth, rounded curves and corners. The red-gold color of the sandstone adds to the sheer beauty of the place. Found on Navajo land, Antelope Canyon is one of the main attractions of Lake Powell Navajo Tribal Park. It's mandatory to have a Navajo guide with you when you're exploring the canyon. There's an upper canyon on ground level which is more popular with tourists, and a lower canyon which requires some climbing up and down of ladders and stairs. The latter is a more difficult hike than the upper canyon and is also several miles away. However, the photography opportunities ensure that it still draws numerous visitors. Visit the lower canyon early in the morning or late in the afternoon. The best time of year to visit is between March and October, because that's when the light shafts are properly visible, and they're a highlight of the canyon, illuminating the elegant curves of the rock formations. One of the most photographed destinations in the southwest United States, it's a strange feeling to be swallowed in the ethereal, swirling embrace of Antelope Canyon. The pink, orange, and gold colors that the summer light highlights are reminiscent of the sunset in many ways. The area also has other slot canyons to explore, like Horseshoe Bend and the Vermilion Cliffs. Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. If you wish to see a place that looks like it came straight out of a James Cameron Avatar film, China's Zhangjiajie National Forest Park is the place to go. Indeed, Cameron drew inspiration from the park to create his iconic film. Located in the Hunan district, the geological formations and towering sandstone pillars give this park its unique look, while the park itself is part of the greater Wulingyuan Scenic Area, which is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The towering pillars set it apart as a spot to visit in itself. The pillars are the result not of deposition but of erosion, which is quite fascinating. They are the remains of deep ravines and cliffs carved out by wind and water over millennia. Called the Hallelujah Mountains by locals, these formations have been the subject of many Chinese paintings, even from ancient times. They're an integral part of Chinese culture and landscapes. The best way to take in the park is by riding the cable car so that you can admire panoramic views. Explore the world's largest natural archway, the Tiananmen Cave, and walk on the world's highest and largest glass-bottom bridge, if you've got the courage. A wide variety of flora and fauna is also housed in the park, and you might just get a glimpse of the elusive clouded leopard. Socotra. Have you ever heard of dragon blood trees? Well, they're the most iconic characteristic of Socotra in Yemen. The 4 semi-arid islands in the middle of the Indian Ocean have some truly remarkable features, from dragon blood and cucumber trees to forests that produce frankincense. Fun fact, Yemen is the largest producer of myrrh in the world. The Socotra archipelago has actually been described as the most alien-looking place in the world. And small wonder, given the amount of endemic species found there. One of the most interesting aspects about Socotra is that it is an isolated landform that isn't volcanic in nature. No, it's actually a fragment of Gondwana, the ancient southern supercontinent. The biggest of the 4 islands is called Socotra, and it's the one that gets the most tourists. From the time of the ancient Greeks and Romans, Socotra had a reputation for otherworldliness and was believed to be the abode of wizards, monsters, and genies. With magnificent white sand beaches and species of plants and animals that you'll never see anywhere else, Socotra is well worth a visit. The dragon blood trees that almost look like they've been carved out of rock, and the cucumber trees with their fat stems are very unique. The architecture is traditional with rock palaces and tower houses. No food is grown on Socotra, though a lot of incense is, and all food is imported from elsewhere in the world. Fly Geyser. Located in Nevada, has to be one of the weirdest places in the world. While this natural feature did have a helping hand in the form of humans, what has finally emerged is something we couldn't have dreamed of. A geothermal geyser is located on private land in Washoe County. The heat from the geyser probably comes from a deep pool of hot rock under the surface of the earth. Back in 1916, men drilled the first well to seek irrigation water for Fly Ranch. When the water was too hot to use, they gave up the project without closing the rift back up. In 1964, a geothermal energy drilled a second well, but they had the opposite problem. The water wasn't hot enough to generate energy. Again, the well wasn't sealed properly. All of this led to the creation of Fly Geyser, with multiple rock formations that deposited on the surface. Silica and quartz together have created Tavernine terraces and 30 to 40 pools that produce a hot, moist environment. This in turn has led to the buildup of algae, which gives the geyser its signature red and green color. Fly Geyser, or Fly Ranch Geyser, as it is often called, is open to the public, although you have to walk quite a bit to get up close and personal. Friends of Black Rock High Rock offer guided tours to the geyser in partnership with the Burning Man Project. Spotted Lake. For all that Canada's Spotted Lake looks like something out of a dystopian novel, the reason behind it isn't all that mysterious. During the summer months, the lake is a series of briny pools in alternating shades of yellow, green, and blue. What's the reason for this polka-dotted landscape? It's just because of the concentration of different minerals like calcium, magnesium sulfates, and sodium sulfates in different patches. The lake, located in the Okanagan Valley of British Columbia, has a very long history. Considered a sacred site by the First Nations people for centuries, the locals were perfectly aware of how useful the lake could be. In fact, their healers knew that the different circles of color had different medicinal and healing properties. They called the lake Klikook. Unfortunately, misuse during the First World War to make ammunition has caused the lake some damage. The colors are reportedly much less bright than they once used to be. However, steps have been taken to correct this in recent years. While visitors are still allowed to visit the lake, and you should definitely go check it out if you're in the area, they aren't allowed too close. It has been declared an ecologically and culturally sensitive area, and you aren't allowed to touch the water. Still, this lake is best enjoyed from a vantage point of which there are many on the highway. The Wave. One of the most scenic spots in Arizona, if not the whole of the United States, the Wave is a unique sandstone formation, looking exactly like ocean waves carved out of rocks. The striations in the stone make for an amazing view. Situated on the slopes of the Coyote's Butts, which is part of the Vermilion Cliffs and has much to offer even beyond the Wave. The Wave has shapely U-shaped troughs in various shades of red, orange, and cream that are stunning to see. Whether you wish to photograph the Wave during the middle of the day without any shadows, or in the early morning or late evening with its dynamic shadows, come prepared with your best cameras. The rare winter show, or the pools formed after a rain shower, also provide unique photography opportunities. However, getting permits to see the place can be quite tricky, and you'd be lucky if you get one the first time around. This natural wonder on the border of Arizona and Utah is extremely coveted by photographers. Only 20 permits are given per day, of which 10 are online and 10 are available in person. The ecosystem is fragile there, and too many people shouldn't gather. A maximum of 64 people are allowed per day, and permits have to be obtained months in advance. Cappadocia. We might be quite familiar with the visual of hot air balloons floating over the Cappadocia region in Turkey. But apart from the hot air balloons, what makes Cappadocia one of the most unreal places on Earth? The geological features, known as fairy chimneys, around which the old picturesque towns of Turkey were built. The underground cities that exist beneath these chimneys, the open-air museums and hiking trails, all of them play into making Cappadocia one of the most unique places in the world. Whether you're taking the Pigeon Valley hiking trail with its breathtaking landscapes and old rock-cut churches, admiring the phallic-shaped fairy chimneys in Love Valley, or traversing the underground city of Derinkuyu, you're sure to have a great time. Visit the colorful Red Valley, Pink Valley, and Rose Valley at sunset for stunning views. And definitely don't miss out on a hot air balloon ride, unless you're afraid of heights. For those who don't enjoy hiking, horse rides are available. The UNESCO World Heritage Site of Jerome Open Air Museum is a must visit. You simply can't miss out on this 10th to 12th century town filled with ancient Byzantine art and architecture. Lake Hillier. Famous for the bright pink color of its water, Lake Hillier in the Zhangjiajie archipelago of Western Australia isn't photoshopped in those images. The secret behind this saline lake is simple enough. Algae, bacteria, and other microorganisms that thrive on salt water. One interesting fact: this lake, although much smaller, is just as salty as the Dead Sea. You'd find it quite difficult to swim in because of the high salt content, even though there's no inherent harm in a dip. Getting permission to do so from the Australian government is necessary, and swimming isn't encouraged in this protected lake. Lake Hillier is located on Middle Island, which is the largest of all the islands that make up the archipelago. Yes, we're unsure about the name too. There are no living creatures inside the lake except microorganisms because of the high saline content. Separated from the bright blue of the ocean just by one thin finger of land, Lake Hillier makes for a spectacular view from the sky. Unfortunately, this lake isn't easily accessed. Located on a remote island as it is, the only way to get a glimpse of Lake Hillier is by flying over it on an airplane. There are also cruises for visitors who want to visit Middle Island, but the surrounding forests don't actually provide a good view of the lake. There are, however, remnants of early European settlement on the island, from granite fireplaces to the remains of horse-drawn carriages. Stone Forest. In China's Yunnan province, the stone forest is a geological marvel that defies the natural laws of an enchanting place. Covering over 400 square kilometers, this mysterious labyrinth of giant petrified limestone formations appears to be a full-fledged forest frozen icily in time, shaped by millions of years of erosion. They represent silent senders, each clear sign of the undisputable power of nature's robotic hand. The moment your foot touches the strangely beautiful landscape, you will discover the feeling of simultaneously being in two different worlds. Verdant peaks, some up to 30 meters tall, line the horizon while limbs of trees bear fruit and creak in the wind. The scale of stone forest alone is enough to grasp anyone. It is an impression that has woken the giants to life. Wandering through the grid-like corridors, you find numerous little caves, zigzag pathways, and secret corners, each providing a new view of the spectacular natural phenomenon. The chance of some shape reminding one of the artifacts, familiar enough to reduce the overall weirdness of the Kuniyoshi art, even more, is not far-fetched, and it is the best example out of many. When I visited the stone forest, the sun was setting, and the place had life on its own. Shadows and silhouettes were all over, with the peaks dominating the sky. Here you can sense that time stops when you have no idea where reality leaves off, and fantasy begins when the planet is a screen for nature's most exquisite painting. Fairy pools. Concealed in the wild terrain of the Island of Skye, Scotland, have a storybook air to them. The enchanting fairy pools. Situated at the base of the brooding black Coilin Mountains, this cascade of crystal clear waters flows from one turquoise to the next through the pools connected by shimmering waterfalls. When you get close to the fairy pools, you are welcomed by the music of the rushing water and the refreshing, wild smell of the environment. The image I have captured is a kaleidoscope of emerald greens and rocky wilderness, and at the top, the black crags of the Coilin Mountains skyline stab the thin clouds. As you descend, the path winds next to the gurgling brook, each bend offering a different view of nature's splendor. The pond's edge is lined with moss-covered boulders and bedecked with ferns and wildflowers, which filter the sunlight from above and cast patterns on the forest floor. Finally, as you get to the actual pools, you are immediately struck by scenery of almost sacred stillness. The water is so transparent that you can distinguish the roughness of whetstones and smooth pebbles on the river bottom. Those who seek the adrenaline rush can dip in the refreshingly cold waters, while others may prefer to sit and savor the peaceful atmosphere only under the sounds of nature. The Enchanted River, hidden within the core area of the Philippine jungle, is proof of what nature's mysterious magnificence can offer. Finding itself in the distant area of Surigao del Sur, this water feature is awe-inspiring, not only for its otherworldly appearance, but also for the eerie mystery surrounding it. When you arrive at the Enchanted River, the first thing that hits your eyeballs is the most incredible color of its waters. A wondrous hue of blue so intense it seems to break reality. The river is well fed by hidden underground springs and is framed by lush greenery. Therefore, it looks like a shining turquoise ribbon meandering serpent-like, or like a guardian of ancient secrets through dense jungle. Breathing in the deep gully, all sounds vanish, and you hear the soft gurgle of water and the music of the forest. Gigantic limestone walls loom from the banks, decorated with greenery drapes and verdant crowns, forming a natural amphitheater emboldening the river's unearthly charm to reach the peak. As the day passes, the Enchanted River performs its most amazing display, a mysterious ritual called the Feeding of the Fish. With the precision of a watch, a vast shoal of fish, silver sardines, elegant angelfish, and iridescent surgeonfish simultaneously emerges from the depths and against unseen forces comes to have their share of the feeding. The locals are convinced these fish are the amulet of the river, in another realm where they show themselves as protectors of the river and mystify the visitors. The visit to Enchanted River will be an awe in a magical world where the line between reality and fantasy will vanish, and you will only see the beauty of nature. The Blue City of Chefchaouen. The city of Chefchaouen, situated among the jagged rift mountains of Morocco North, seems to be a mirage. It looks like a surreal oasis of blue shades surrounded by yellowish terracotta walls and winding cobble streets. This antique, upended in the 15th century, evokes an unrealistic atmosphere that bewitches people worldwide. As you wander through the labyrinthine streets of Chefchaouen, with the blue sky above, you are drowning in a sea of blue color, blue doorways, turquoise staircases, and cobalt arches create a kaleidoscope of color that seems to be dancing in the sunlight. Filling the air with the scent of spices and incense, intertwined with laughter and singing from the crowded market's hidden courtyards and shopping places. Each nook and cranny of Chefchaouen brings a new surprise, an intimate garden with a tapestry of vibrant bougainvillea, a peaceful courtyard shaded with old olive trees, or an undiscovered mosque with fascinating tiles. The town's architecture comprises Moroccan and Andalusian influences, intricate doorways, and geometric designs that represent the age-old cultural exchanges of the century. The sunset is particularly notable in Chefchaouen, as the glowing golden light goes under the horizon and the city seems to shine. Moreover, the house's walls are blue, shimmery, and glaring, shadowing the narrow streets. The city can be heard in the evening prayers and smelt of the traditional Moroccan cuisine from local restaurants. The Ruins of Petra. Located amidst the sandstone canyons of southern Jordan, the ancient city of Petra appears as a myth because it is a maze-like architectural wonder comprising of temples, tombs, and sculptures, all of which were carved out of the rose-colored rocks by the gifted hands of the ancient masters. This UNESCO World Heritage Site, the Rose City, is proof of the dexterity and the inventiveness of the Nabatean civilization, which flourished here centuries ago. The first view of Petra is breathtaking when one gets closer to the multicolored monolithic sandstone cliffs from soft pink to fiery red, glowing with the golden rays of the desert sun. The Seek highlights the city's entrance. This iconic narrow gorge is enclosed between towering cliffs that wind and turn every few meters, gradually leading to the city's mystery. You step through the Seek and are received with a fantastic view of Al-Khazne, the treasury, a massive temple with carved rock decorations and a high-crowned urn. It is like a breath of fresh air, this moment of awe-inspiring beauty that takes you back into the age of opulence and majesty. As you journey further, you will be amazed to find an abundance of ancient marvels hidden deep in the rocky tidings of Petra. The Chocolate Hills tower above the greenery of Bohol in the Philippines over a surreal and paradoxical view that seems unreal. Running to the horizon, over 1,200 conical mounds look like Hershey's Kisses from afar. It is a picture that can arouse amazement and inspiration simultaneously, leaving visitors bewitched by its captivating intricacy. Named after the brown color of the grass covering the hills in the dry season, when the dry grass turns brown like cocoa, the Chocolate Hills are a geographical anomaly that cannot be found anywhere else in the world. They are the result of the erosion of limestone deposits that have taken millions of years to create, and each one tells its own story about the power of nature and the ephemeral nature of time. When you get to the top of one of these puzzling mounds, the whole landscape you can see is fantastic. Gentle hills extend far beyond the horizon of every side, their smooth, perfect shapes giving an endless, undulating landscape reminiscent of a drawing. The air is vibrant with the chanting of bugs and birds singing, contributing to the feeling of solitude and remoteness surrounding this corner of the earth. Discovering the Chocolate Hills, you will see the hidden caves, meandering rivers, and lush forests with wildlife, which add to the sense of exploration and revelation. It is a place in which time seems to stand still. Boundaries between reality and imagination are blurred, and the wonders of the natural universe are shown in all their splendor. The Lencois Maranhenses National Park. Situated on the northeastern coast of Brazil, the Lencois Maranhenses National Park is a marvelous mix of dunes and freshwater lagoons, which are so enchanting that it feels like they are lifted out of the dream world. This magical place, spread over 1,500 square kilometers, leaves visitors spellbound with its mesmerizing beauty and fairy-like enchantment. As you splurge into the park's core, the golden sandy valleys that appear around you only disappear as they merge at the horizon to the horizon in all directions. These vast formations, with which the wind and the rain have sculpted them for 1,000,000 and more years, rise and fall like frozen waves. Their wrinkled surfaces take the sun to make it lush as gold. However, what excites Lencois Maranhenses is its hidden lagoons between the dunes of a network of amazingly transparent pools that shine like pearls in the desert. Upcoming rainfalls fill the freshwater oasis in the interdunal natural slot and demonstrate the striking contrast to the dry surrounding landscape. During the rainy period from January to June, these lagoons fill you up, making the park a watery magic land. Earth, a palette of inimitable blue hues, where the sky mirrors the water, produces a mosaic of colors dancing and moving accordingly to the changing light. It is the type of sight that you can quickly think is a mirage, especially since you will be the first to discover it among the crowd. Therefore, it will be such a hideaway waiting for those brave enough to venture off the well-trodden path. The Banaue Rice Terraces. Located in the Cordillera mountain range in the northern Philippines, the Banaue Rice Terraces, according to the legend of Falgao's people, are characterized by artistic, unique pattern movements, and depict the story of the creation myth that looks like a fairy tale landscape. On close examination, the ancient terraces carved over 2,000 years ago can be spotted on some of these steep mountain bridges, forming the impression of a vertical, steep pyramid that goes on and on as it unfolds towards the sky, creating a patchwork of emerald fields that seem to defy the forces of gravity. When you approach the Banaue rice terraces, the sheer vastness of land is looking at what the eyes can hold. Whether climbing through the terrain or admiring the buildings from a stationary position, one cannot help but be enthralled by the exquisite work of masonry found in the architecture of this ancient site. They are an awe-inspiring example of human ingenuity and intellect that has stood the test of time as monumental structures equal to the pyramids of Egypt or the Great Wall of China, an embodiment of the intellectual and craftsmanship of the Fugao people. The hiking trails always bring the experience up close and personal. It envelops you in calm, quiet, and inner serenity. The wind through rice stalks is murmuring gently, and with noisy water one can hear the universe's conversation going. The mountain peaks in the background are like mute spectators. It is just the beginning of the farming season, and the terraces are buzzing with activities as farmers have their hands on the earth, planting the rice by hand and tending to the crops around them. The field is dotted with colors of new seedlings, in rice paddies in vibrant green shade, while the soil turned over recently is a glorious brown, making it a sign of what allured me, a vivid and surreal zebra. To stand amidst the Banaue rice terraces is to go back in time, to a realm where nature and humanity are intertwined in the purest form, and the beats of life are constantly guided by the flowing seasons. The Great Blue Hole, located off the coast of Belize, is a natural wonder that can attract the attention of anyone like no other. The Great Blue Hole. This mammoth marine bowl, over 300 meters wide and more than 120 meters below, is so boundary-breaking as to appear straight out of a fantasy novel. When you take the boat or the plane to the Great Blue Hole, your first sighting of its dark, mysterious water will mesmerize you. From above, the endless circle of the blue ocean is in sharp contrast to the surrounding turquoise sea, and the portal to another world, like a black hole. As you plunge into the mysterious Great Blue Hole, profound silence engulfs you, except breached by the sound of your breathing and the distant music of marine life. As you process deeper, shafts of light penetrate the darkness, alighting on stalactites and stalagmites dating from a period after the cave was above sea level. The Great Blue Hole dives you into the unrevealed world of beauty, a dense environment where everything is alive. Colorful schools of fish swimming among the corals that are visible from the edges of the drop hole, but not predators that disappear in the blink of an eye. However, maybe the most incredible of all is the feeling of the scale of the Great Blue Hole, which is so huge that it looks like it has no bottom and endless space, which inspires a sense of humility and wonder in those who can view its sublime beauty. Rainbow Mountains. Zhangjiajie Landform Geological Park in Gansu Province of China is where the Rainbow Mountains are situated, which cancels all imagination within the boundaries of usual perception. These towering sandstone formations, depicted in an uplifting array of red, orange, yellow, and green hues, which look like an artist's brush, have swept the horizon with reckless enthusiasm. While coming near the Rainbow Mountains, you will encounter a spectrum of colors, resembling a kaleidoscope, depending on the changing light color. All these layers of sediment, even those altered by millions of years of geological endeavors, tell specific stories where these are ancient seas, tectonic shifts, and incessant forces of nature. Moving through the rough land, you find yourself on a labyrinth of trails leading you through towering walls, deep valleys, and narrow canyons. Every separate curve giving fresh views, more beautiful than the last. The sheer magnitude of the landscape makes you humble because of the craggy peaks, reaching magnificently against the background of a highly blue sky. It is like setting out on a trip, interwoven with dreams, where the boundaries between the real and the imaginary are no longer clear, and where earth and sky merge. To an artist looking for inspiration, nature is a palette of colors coming to life in a concert of diverse hues that creates a surreal, luminescent masterpiece experienced rather than imagined. And there you have it. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Ever been to any of these unreal places? If you enjoyed this video, show us some love by hitting that like button and subscribing to our channel for more awesome content in the future. See you in the next video.